Yeah, but y'all down that's like PD hoes rise, and they rise again. From the front line to leading mates and friends. Oh, this is your season, time to take a stand. Hey, hero makers, legends spreading across the land.
It's your roof from Tassie, bouncing like a kid at a Bunnings. Sausage sizzle on a Saturday morn. Season 3's lit, laptop lifestyle, dad show, hero makers. Season is born from AI funnels to social selling grit. Now it's hero making time. Strap in, this is it, yo. I've hopped Tokyo's back streets, cop the LA glow, bringing yarns from the road, mate. Watch the wisdom flow from the kitchen bench, hustle to the big global stage. We're handing you the keys, now it's time to turn the page.
Watch your heroes rise, and they rise again. From the front line to leading mates and friends. Oh, this is your season, time to take a stand. Hero makers, been spreading across the land.
I'm the pumped up platypus from Sunny Q, way more bounce than a kid who spotted the ice cream van. You see, two was your dad's mate, bringing boom source seed, helping legends step up, take the driver's seat. We're not just here to yabba raw, spin you a line. We're handing you the mic so your voice can shine. From Tassie to Tokyo, Goldie to Perth, hero makers worldwide, lifting leaders of worth. Jeff Rule's got the coffee double shot, mate, I'm wide. They platypus at the pool party, still floating our tide. Jeff from barbecues to boardrooms, we bring the yarns and the tools, helping legends lead strong and break all the rules.
See heroes rise, and they rise again. From the front line to leading mates and friends. This is your season, time to take a stand. Hero makers, legends spreading across the land.
Grab your brew, your notepad, and your crew. It's the laptop lifestyle dad show. Hero maker season, bringing heroes out of you. Patty the rule, platypus bringing the tricks. Hero makers podcast, your daily boom source fix.
And they rise again. From the front line to leading mates and friends. Oh, this is your season, time to take a stand. Hey, hero makers, legends spreading across the land. Heroes rise, and they rise again. From the front line to leading mates and friends. Oh, this is your season, time to take a stand. Hey, hero makers, legends spreading across the land.
Hey, here he is. Let's swap this around. So we've got some uniformity going there, Dave.
Yeah, otherwise I'll just whinge at you anyway.
All right.
How you doing, brother? Good.
Good. I always like these calls with you, man. That song, it's a good one to get you in the mood to do things, right?
It is, yep. And even though I was actually just our little countdown time when I put in our chat there, it's sort of it's a good warm up to lead into that. So sort of get you going, and then you get into that one, and then we appear here, and then we just have too much fun.
Music's a funny thing, right? And the beat, the energy of it all. It could either calm you down, it can make you sad, it can hype you up, it can do lots of things. It's fascinating when you start to understand music as like a different expression of energy and how you can use it as a tool in your communication. It's pretty powerful, right?
It is a very powerful tool, to like you said, get a reaction from emotions. So
yeah,
definitely.
Let's talk. We're just talking a bit of in our chat before we jumped on, and we'll talk about a couple of other things too, like tools that help us to keep us on track, to keep us moving forward, right? We talked about yesterday about the power of mindset and stuff and whatnot, and I want to continue that thread of that conversation going. So Dave, we were talking about the curse of comparison, and I think that the whole conversation, when I really reflect on what is the curse of comparison. When you got compare-itis, right? You're comparing your journey against other people, and you start to get deflated or disheartened because you're not where they are, or you're not where you thought you should be. There's essentially a sense of attachment to it, right? What's been before we dive in and unpack this, what's been your experience, Dave, from this whole conversation with curse of comparison? How has it prevented you from getting where you need to be, and how's it, understanding what it's all about, how do you free yourself from that curse of comparison?
Yes, well, I guess it sort of reflects back to envy as well. So, you've got to get out of that mindset. I remember when I first started in the online world and started, into a program that was, all about Facebook ads and blah blah blah, and you know, mm, seeing all the results that others were getting, and and I wasn't, and I'm thinking, well, what's wrong with me? you
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
why
I'm
can't I
doing
be
all
like
the
that?
yeah.
I'm doing exactly what they're doing, and but I'm not getting the same results. And I guess it gets you down after a while, like if you let it. But then I had to come to the realization, and I guess things sort of changed, and I gained another mentor, I guess, who was a bit wiser in managing people, I suppose. And it wasn't probably until that point that when he sort of explained it and explain that you've got to be in it for the long journey. It's not a quick cash grab, which is what I guess I was sold on, at the time, and
Right.
being
So
gullible
you're
at the
you're
time.
you're given an expectation, or
Mm,
a pipe dream, so to speak, and that set the expectation and the attachment even to that expectation,
correct,
and essentially set you up for well, for better words, set you up for failure.
pretty
And
much,
then
yeah, exactly, and
and you're
disappointment
not
and
getting the measurement,
frustration and all
right?
those things, that you don't want to, be living in. I mean, at the time, I was lucky. I was working, so the income part of it probably wasn't that crucial. It didn't have an impact as such, but the lack of results and stuff like that, which therefore was income as
All the
well.
time
Um,
you put into it, it
disappointing.
can get disheartening.
Yeah, well, yeah,
Yeah.
you're spending time away from your family and your kids, and locking yourself in a room and doing all this work, and then big fat zero, and not even any additional attraction or anything like that. So,
Right, and then there's
yeah,
the other lie that comes into that conversation too that I found is, just stick it out. You just push it through. It's you just got to go through the hustle and grind of it all. You'll get there eventually. And so I've seen both spectrums of this conversation, essentially both lies. And
mhm,
I find there is direction, there is hope in this conversation. I'm not just going to leave it here, but let's talk to that for a second, Dave. Like, what's been your experience of, like, oh, I've just got to push through it. It'll happen one day. It's going to happen eventually. I think that's
does.
another thing that sets people up for failure too, right?
It does for sure and certain. I think really, yeah, what changed things for me was, uh, I guess, getting a mentor and changing my mindset.
Yeah.
Because being attached to the results all the time is definitely just going to set you up for failure. And focusing on the mission and what really matters, and being I guess a servant-hearted leader, as you always say. Um, it just takes that pressure off to get the results, as far as I'm concerned, in my mind at least, anyway. And the results were
Right.
coming from an angle.
The
You were
results are
impacting
important though, right?
people.
They're the
Oh,
lead
they are.
measurement. They can help you to determine, what is working, what is not working. It's feedback, it's
Oh, for sure.
information,
But it's the angle that you approach them on, I guess, and
right?
I guess it's sort of like the KPIs, I suppose. It just depends on what you're trying to get the result on, and what it's based on. So, but
Yeah,
if
well,
you're
yeah.
attached to just focusing on getting that money in all the time and comparing yourself to well, for instance, say if I compared myself to you, well, I'd be in a life of misery.
Yeah, the funny
I don't
thing
have
is,
the
that's
same
what
I don't
I
have the
do.
same experience.
I've
So
compared myself to other people's journey too, and I've looked at it and I've gone, really, oh, that's, I'm not where they are, or where, in their same time frame. And it is, it's a distraction, it's a lie, it's something that does set up for a lot of people for failure. And it's something that I want to call out a little bit, because I've seen
mm,
too many people starting this game with this vigor, this energy, this hope, and then they get into
yeah,
it 6 months, 12 months, 3 years, 5 years, and they give up. And you only
very
fail
common.
this game if you really do just give up and walk away. There is no failure in this space, and if you keep getting up and getting back into it, it's just feedback, right? It's all right. I tried that way. I've given it a good hard crack. It didn't work. Let's pivot and adjust. And I want to come back to that conversation in a second, but I find that we need to, as humans, right? We do need to be attached to something. And I think what happens, especially in my own journey, when I got disheartened in this space, and I'll ask you too, Dave, when I highlighted it out, we need to be attached to something to pull us up the hill, to drive us, to get us to that space, right? But if we're attached to money, if we're attached to metrics, vanity metrics of space and whatnot, the transactional conversation, I find in my experience, when it doesn't go that way, it's very easy to get disheartened and disempowered and deflated. Has that been your experience, Dave?
100%. Especially when, well, 6 months ago, probably longer now, time flies when you're having fun. See, too much fun on these calls. It's making time go too fast. 8 months or so ago now, or 10 actually, if I really think about it. But, when I was really, in not a good place, but everything, was in that scarcity stage, I suppose, and, trying to grab anything from everywhere, and, and getting really down on
that pray and hope message. Like I do this, I pray and hope. I hope this is the magic pill. I hope this works.
Well, that's right, and I put this offer out, and you put that offer out, and you put something else out, and something else out, and everybody, is probably sitting back going, Jesus, dude, what are you doing to us? But anyway, you keep sort of soldiering on, but then you get no results, nothing happens, and you just think, well, you sit outside at 1 o'clock in the morning and think, wow, what's going on? What am I doing? I'm a failure, should I be doing this? I'm letting my family down, all that stuff.
So what's the difference, you think, as people who make this work for them? Because everybody, I feel, has got to go through this part of the journey, right? I think this is part of the journey. I think you've got to figure it out. You've got to embrace the suck side of this conversation. But what do you think is the common denominator here, that the people who sort of shift and go from realizing, I don't need to be attached to results or attached to those vanity metrics, to moving to a deeper, more impactful play? As I said, we've got to be attached to something to focus us in, to anchor us in, right? So what do you think that thing is, Dave?
Well, for me, it's simple. It's the mission.
Mission.
The mission matters most.
Yeah.
So,
right.
If you're crystal clear on your mission, it doesn't matter what happens along the way. Yes, you're going to trip, you're going to fall, you're going to get back up, you're going to run, you're going to run backwards, you're going to do all sorts of things, 360s. But if you keep your focus on the mission and what you're actually really trying to achieve with that, then nothing else really matters.
And that's it right there. And I've seen people who are attached to their mission, and they'll go through hell, they'll go through storms, they'll do the ups and the downs and the twists and the turns and everything in between. And they're the people that stick it out the long term and do the long term jeopardy. Most people, especially in our space, most people in our space who are successful have been doing it for a decade, 2 decades, 3 decades plus.
Exactly. All the people I know that are successful in my little AI world,
right?
Probably they've all had over 10 years experience, 15 years, 20 years.
Well, Jeff J. Hunter's not that much further down the pipeline than I am. And Austin Armstrong,
that's right.
In that space, but they've probably got about half a decade or maybe a decade on me. But that's the thing, right? It's leaning into that space, being attached to the mission, and embracing everything's figure-outable space, and you go through that level of crazy obsession, if you will, to figure it out. And so that's what I wanted to really highlight here, is the mission matters most. So if you're listening to this conversation now and you're caught up in the curse of comparison, the I'm not good enough, the like, why is this not working, the frustrated space, I want to just say, well done for putting yourself in this position, because this is the space that most people find themselves when they start in this, and they get into this space, and everybody goes through this. This is a part of the learning curve. But this is why I focus on, when we do our coaching and our masterclasses, Dave, that we focus in on the why first. Michael asked me, my mentor, Michael, he asked me on a call today, and he went around the horn and he ran, so what's your why? Like, why do you do what you do? And my answer was very simple as well. For me, it's about making sure I provide a legacy impact for my boys and Sarah. That's the initial why. But the deeper part in that, let's say they're taken care of, I never have to worry about them again. And the financial freedom's there, the lifestyle freedom's there, all of that's there, and I don't have to stress about that anymore. The deeper why that keeps me going is I live to help serve people to find their purpose-driven life. To create a life by design, a life that's full of abundance, a life that's full of freedom in that space. And there's many facets to that diamond in the way that we can facilitate that conversation. For example, these conversations right here are a part of that. The podcast is a part of that. My partnerships with Michael and Joshua are a part of that. The online church that we do are a part of that. They're all vehicles to help facilitate that mission, that why, that driver. And until you can get really crystal clear on what your North Star in that space is, well, you're going to find yourself attached to other things that probably aren't going to be the thing that will keep you going, sustaining and long-term jeopardy, right? So, Dave, I'm very clear on my why. Let's unpack yours. Like, why do you do this? What's your big why?
Well, fortunately and unfortunately, it's very similar to yours.
I think that's a beautiful thing. That's why we buddy up together.
That's right, exactly. Well, obviously, it's the same thing. I'm trying to create a legacy for. Well, I've got a 4-year-old. I've got a couple of other kids floating around the place as well. And my wife's new to the country. She's a few years now, but she's new. So, what I really want to do most is make sure that if God forbid anything happens to me, that they don't have to, fight for anything. They can just go, oh, okay, well, they can do their grieving and whatever they need to do, and don't have to worry about, oh crap, who's going to pay for the funeral, or who's going to pay for the house, or whatever else may come along. And then again, the next thing is, I guess my other why is I really want to have an impact on people and their ability to understand and use AI properly to amplify everything that they do. Basically, it can be their life,
I love that
job, it can be their business, and just one of those things is, and too many people just don't understand how to work with AI properly to get the results that they need. And that sort of stuff. And that's a whole story for another day. But that's what I want to have that impact on. I want people to embrace it. I want them to, I want kids. I want my 4-year-old. I don't really want him to grow up much quicker, but I do want him to get a couple more years older so that I can start training him and teaching him how to use AI and how it can benefit. Yeah. So
my son working at 12. Maybe you can do a little bit younger.
I don't necessarily want him working. I just want him to get an understand appreciation for it, and he's born in a time. He's born in a time that's just there's just limitless ability to be able to achieve things. So I want him to embrace that. I don't want him to be planning on his mother will go, oh, what, did you go to university? Dad's going, yeah, no, mate, you ain't going to university. You're going to be way too smart to go to university.
That's a topic for another day for sure. But I totally get it, right? It's about tapping into the tools that we can use to once again create that creative space and that speed to implementation to get creative, to be a person who creates things, whatever that looks like, to once again to live that purpose-driven life, to live that space out really clearly. And I love that fact that's that's why we partner together, Dave. It's because ours is very similar in that space. But here's the thing, right? When you find what you believe, you'll find other people who believe what you believe. And that is the goal right there that Simon Sinek talks about all the time. And because people don't buy what you do or how you do it, they buy why you do it, that type of conversation. And they believe what you believe. That's what the goal is to find those people. And when you do, you can find spaces and ways to collaborate and connect and create spaces to go build together because their vision fits inside your vision and vice versa in that space.
It all fits under one big umbrella.
Right? And that's the reason why we created this community called Hero Makers, because I had a conversation a couple of years ago with myself, and it was like, if I was no longer here, what would be that one word that I would like to leave on my gravestone? And the word's Hero Maker. That once again, that ties in that purpose-driven life aspect of that conversation. Yeah. So I find this moves into probably the next part of my conversation, and then we'll quickly wrap up because I did say to Dave I want to make sure that it's only for 25
I've already given
minutes.
you the warning. I've already given you the warning message, but you weren't paying much attention.
So let me be very, very intentional here. So, because there is a really important piece that I wanted to add to this conversation. When you're clear on your purpose-driven why statement, and we'll do some workshop on that to help you with that. But when you are clear on that, you show up different. Your posture's different. Your belief is different. Your actions are different. Your marketing's different. Your conversations are different. And so when I talk about, teaching attraction marketing, over the 2 decades that I've been doing this, most people are trying to sell and build a business online and make money online, and I get all that. But the legends who connect with this and move faster are the ones who know how to ask the right questions. And asking the right questions are the keys to opening up the doors for all of the conversations around you. When you stop trying to impress people, there you go. That's an attachment to that transactional conversation. That's an attachment to the metrics, the money, that type of thing. When you stop trying to impress people and you start getting genuinely curious about people and you work from a position of your mission matters most, that's where true connection happens. See, powerful questions aren't about being clever. They're about being clear. So when you talk about, asking questions, I want to give you a bit of a framework here just quickly to help you to do this. Context, curiosity, and clarity. For example, hey, Dave, if you're a business owner, which you are, I would ask you a simple question. This is, what's been your biggest challenge in your business lately? Context, right? And then I would dig deeper, would talk about that challenge, and I would put in some empathy into some of that space, and I'd say, that's interesting. What made you choose this approach? Or I want to get genuinely curious. I want to dig deeper, and I want to bring in some empathy into the conversation. And then once we've had that conversation back and forth, we'll move the conversation towards growth. If there was a way, Dave, that I could help you to solve XYZ problem without the extra stress, would you be open to exploring that to see if it's a fit for you? See, by getting genuinely curious and leading in with context, curiosity, and clarity, that structure is going to help you to open up more doors. And then that's what this is a beautiful thing about this. Is this will position you as someone who's of service versus trying to sell. We talk about it all the time, Dave. Everybody loves to buy, but everybody hates being sold. And so what do we love to buy? Well, we buy impact, we buy growth, we buy solutions. Right. So
I was just sorry, I was internally laughing my ass off while you were talking about that, and I was thinking, almost sounds like you're giving people the perfect prompt strategy there for AI. The way the context and that, I'm thinking, this is
maybe rubbing off on me, guys. Maybe the prompt frameworks are rubbing off on me.
Yeah, well,
but Dave, let's wrap it up on this. I think we've ticked the goal today of talking about the mindset around curse of comparison and attachment and mindset. Mission matters most. Let's just quickly wrap up. We've got 1 minute before we hit our limit. I had a bit of a crazy idea today, Dave, and I don't want to give away the house right now, but I don't know. Maybe am I insane?
Pretty much. To speak to you, as I said in our messages, I have to speak to Sarah about this. I think she needs to take you to see somebody. To be honest,
the mental asylum.
Maybe.
Well, guys, if you're wondering what we're talking about, is we're about to launch a Black Friday special, and I've been talking to the team about this, and I thought it was pretty generous to start with, and I've decided to get even more generous. So you may have seen a few posts floating around, but I want to ask a question. If we were to give away all of our training, some of our world-class training that we've done to help people to find their voice, to elevate their voice, to amplify their voice, how to tap into Dave's AI genius in this space, and really learn how to build a personal brand in that space. If we were to give that away for free, would that be something that you would like to take advantage of?
I think I might have to talk to my wife. Yes. I might be in the asylum. I might be in the asylum next year.
I think the answer is yes to that conversation, right? But here's the thing, like, there is strategy behind the madness, don't get me wrong, and we'll unpack that later. But we're looking for ways to disrupt the industry. And I've said it for quite some time, Dave. I think that in the space of AI, knowledge is worth $0. But
Pretty much.
wisdom and expertise and community and connection, people will pay for.
Yes.
So I think we're in a time here to be a pioneer, to lead by example. And look, the reality is all of what we teach can be going found for free anyway on YouTube or ChatGPT and all that sort of thing. Is people just don't need to don't even know where to look. So how about we be part of the pioneering force team, Dave, and we really tap into this side. This is that space of generous with our time, talents, and treasures. And we create massive community here, helping people, serve people from this capacity. And we give some of our best content away for free, Dave. What are your thoughts on that?
Hold on, I need to make a phone call. No. Sarah, where are you?
We might not do it forever. We might definitely not do it forever. I think that might be crazy, but I think we're going to play around with it.
I think it'd be a great idea. I think, I think what you said. I think the industry needs a bit of a shake-up. We're the two Aussie larrikins that could probably do that, and I think that by flipping the switch and turning things upside down, that'll be just too much fun. And what is it anyway? Like you said, you're teaching people stuff that they could go and find on YouTube. Of course, they wouldn't find it, and they wouldn't get as good a result as what.
Well, most people don't know where to look. Most people don't know where to look,
exactly
and most
right.
people won't go do it because they're
AI.
looking for the shortcut, right? They're looking for the shortcut, or they don't have the accountability. And you know what? Most people probably won't even come into this space. They'll get started and they'll fall off or whatever. But I know this conversation. If we're focused on being hero makers. I think of the story of, you're walking along the beach, right? And on the beach, you see 1 million starfish washed up on the beach. Now, to try and throw 1 million starfish back into the beach, it's pretty impossible. Mm-hmm. But I threw this one back in the beach and I've saved that one. I threw this one back in the beach and I saved that one. And if I can help a handful, 10, 15, 20% of that million people, to get in and unlock their genius zone, find their purpose-driven life statement, and go build a business and a brand around that conversation, that ignites the flame in me and excites me all day long.
Me too. I think it's something, I guess it brings me back to John Maxwell with raising the lid. So I guess, we're raising our lid and we're allowing others to raise theirs. So, and
so it really feeds into this Hero Makers community concept of what we're building here. And reality is what we will do, and I'll be very transparent about it, is we will build community, we will build authority, we'll build connection. And then there will be offers, built on the back end of that to point people into the right direction to something like Mindset Pro. Get access to Dr. Joseph McClendon and Joshua Phelps with that product. And, so this will get us into the masses, into that audience. And the great thing too is we're going to invite you to come do the same thing with us. Let's build this Hero Makers community together and be that rising tides that raise all ships conversation together. And let's go collaborate. Let's go build something that the industry is desperately needing. We know a thing or two when it comes to attraction marketing and personal branding and AI. I like to think that we're some of the best in the world in this space, and I know we are. We've got some really awesome connections with Michael Silvers and Mary Glorifield and Joshua Phelps and Brianna Williams and the network that we're building here. I even see we've got Jim on this, this conversation here with us today. Jim's a very knowledgeable person when it comes to leadership and faith, and I love to, create a space for him a platform for him to share his knowledge with. We've got Craig, we've got Mark, we've got Sarah, we've got Jade, we've got, the list goes on. Exactly. And if we can create a space where aspiring leaders can turn into heroes and heroes can turn into hero makers, man, that makes my heart sing all day long.
Me too. That just gives me more reason to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning and bounce around the walls and just go, who are we going to help today? And that's right. That just comes from here. That's for me what I've learned over the last 6 months. And the biggest thing that I've taken away is, I guess, that mindset change has just helped me to, it's not like, used to get up and go, oh shit, another day, I got to do this crap all over again.
Right,
Now it's like
another
I
bill
get up,
to pay
I get
or
up,
another.
I get up early in the morning and go, let's go. What
It's
are
a
we doing?
different energy, right? Because the other energy to that is, oh, I got another bill to pay. Oh, the debt collectors are calling
Yeah,
again. Blah blah
only
blah
money.
blah blah. Like you can't get blood from a stone conversation, as they say. Well, that's the old way of thinking. Let's go create community. Let's go serve, and through that, we'll unlock the abundance that's inside that conversation. And I reflect back on Zig Ziglar's statement: go and help enough people get what they want, what they need, and you'll get what you need in the process. And mate, I think that's
That's what we're
confirmation.
about to do. I think we're
I
about
think
to
that's
help
confirmation, right?
anybody and everybody that wants to come and join us to, to enable them to do whatever they, foresee to be their part of their laptop lifestyle journey and what they want to
Right.
do. If they want to be a network marketer, they want to be an AI person, they want to do whatever. Well, we're just about to dump a whole heap of beautiful information and community onto your lap.
So I'm going to give you a little hint, guys. Watch out for our Black Friday special. It's going to be a Black Friday special that's never been done before like this. And it may include something like 100% discount. I don't know. We'll see.
Really?
Oh, maybe
You're going to do
maybe
that to me?
maybe
Right
give it away, Dave.
maybe.
All right, guys. We'll keep going with this, but this feels right, Dave, and I love the energy that this conversation is building around, and I can't wait to go build something really awesome with you, Dave, and serve the community in a really powerful way, and I think that what we're going to do here is going to help transform a lot of lives and really fulfill that mission on creating purpose-driven lives for people around them to create that life of abundance so they can go make memories with their family and focus on the things that really matter, the important things. So
Exactly. Yep.
all right, guys, I
100%.
think that's enough rambling. Dave, we went 8 minutes over time, mate. I'm sorry.
That's pretty good for us, so I'll forgive you this time.
We're getting better. It's not an hour over time.
Yeah, true, exactly.
It's like the preacher, but yes, there's still one more.
Oh, what was that, Big Kev?
Yeah.
And there's more.
And there's more. Yeah, well, yeah. All right, guys. Thanks for your time. We'll see you same time tomorrow, next time, same place, that same back channel. And there we go. I'm aging myself now. And we'll see you tomorrow.
Bye. See you, Robin.